Two. Up some. Okay, let's call this meeting to order. It's 5 o'clock. I want to welcome everyone here tonight. First thing on the agenda, we have some prayer requests. Warner Hale is a former employee, passed away. I'd like you to remember his family. Parker Goolsby was a former employee also. He's passed away. I'd like you to remember his family. Greg Kimball's family, his wife was a former employee. We'd like to remember those also. Like you to remember Miss Kim White's mother, Miss Gail Burns, Mr. Arnold Rich, which is Debbie Rich's husband. He's really fighting a hard battle with cancer. Miss Belinda Angel, Jude McCaleb, fine little boy. He melts my heart every time I see him. Scotty Lewis's mother, Dinah Shoulders, my wife, and Courtney Taylor. Is anybody else y'all like to add to the list? If not, let's bow, have prayer. Dear God, thank you for another day to be able to be here. We ask you tonight, dear God, that whatever we do, that would be for the children and all employees of the Board of Education. I know a lot of people may not think that we do the right thing sometime, but we do what's in our heart and what we think you think would be the best for our children. So I ask for all these things in your name, and I ask you to remember all these people that was on the prayer list, that they're sick or they've lost loved ones, that you might remember them when you lay down tonight. I ask you all these things in your name. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started on to everything tonight, there was there was an article that was run in the paper that we were going to negotiate Mr. Smith's contract tonight. The executive committee, being myself and Mr. Smith, decided that that would not be put on the agenda because we're not going to discuss that tonight. Mr. Smith and I agreed that this was not the time to do it, and that he was agreeable to leave his contract at 2 years, and then we'd go from there. Also, Mr. Smith would like to talk to each one of y'all and the whole county, you might say, because this is being aired by the county. He'd like to explain a few things why he has not decided to have his contract extended. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Shoulders. This is actually the second time I think I've come to you, Mr. Shoulders, and had you to remove it.
Yes, yes.
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for the support and the partnership. Y'all have been fantastic. I'm sure not the least bit upset with the board. I've got the greatest board in the world. You know, a lot of people don't realize this is a 24/7 job. I mean, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and a water line bust or at 2 o'clock in the morning or the alarm goes off. Tricia's been with me a long time, and Tracy's been with me now for some. But you know what we go on a daily basis, and it's hard. It's a hard job to do when I've got the support of you guys. When I've got 8 for 8, and we've got some new board members coming on, and they may need to go. You know, this is the same time we've always done it. I think that's the reason y'all brought it up in the first place. but they may need to go, they may wanna go a different direction. And, because, and you can say, well, you've got 5 votes or 6 votes or 7, whatever, I don't know. But you really need to be in unison. I mean, it needs to be an agreement, whoever, you know, and I can change my mind a month from now, I can interview at the end in 2 years if I decide to do that. So that still leaves the door open for me to do that if that's something I want to do. And those of you who's been around me and with me know that I went through a lengthy battle with my father passing away, very close to my dad. And right now, you know, mentally, I'd want to make sure that I'm where I need to be at to commit to 4 years. I guess what I'm trying to say. And, you know, to take it, to say, well, that's as wrong as people saying the lies and the rumors that they say on a daily basis. For me, just to say it for a vindictive, hey, I can get it if I want it, that's not the right reason for me to take it. But it needs to be, I think you need to make sure, whoever you need to make sure your board needs to be together in a partnership, because it's hard to do when you've got everybody, let alone when you're fighting and putting out fires. When I took this, I'm gonna give you here, I meant to stay 3 years. I told Roger Lewis I'd stay 3 years, and he said you need to stay at least 5 for your retirement. Well, I've been here 10, and with 2 years left, I plan on serving those. But and I can't say enough to the staff and parents and the board members that's reached out to me in the last week or 10 days, trying to what was I going to do and this and that. But we've got a fantastic staff. I always want you to know that. We've assembled a great central office staff. But like I said, right now for the 2 years, at this time, I'm going to decline it. I would like to give an opportunity to fact find. I think somebody called it one night at a meeting. We've got probably, I don't know, I hadn't figured it up, $30 million in grants in the last few years. We've strategically been very creative on the new TISA formula. We got extra $5 million last year. No, what you said, we come in another $2 million this year already, and we're just now starting to really understand it. We built these wellness centers, which is going to affect every child in Smith County. You guys ought to be proud of that. Your grandkids ought to be proud of that. And it's going to come in a little or nothing for the taxpayers. This Megatronics lab we got going on, again, it's free. It's going to touch so many. We're going to be able to put some massive high-dollar jobs back in Smith County. Tommy, I see you know you're in the industry. You know what this is going to do. We got some, hopefully, basically like on a scholarship basis. We're about 10 kids a year, not just in the mechatronics part, but not counting the other things we're going to be able to do. We've give massive raises and got one on the agenda tonight for nothing. Again, the people that's been involved in this had knew that's what we had saved all this money for. It says we'd sustain it, and I don't think we've asked anything for 16, 20 years and not asking, and it looks like we're going to sustain this for years to come. What we put out tonight, it's laughable for somebody to make a statement that we were made to do it. Yes, we are made to give a certain amount of money. You know, we call it steps. You know, like they might come out and say somebody with 10 years and a master's needs another $150 a year, but to give what we give, what, Bobby, would you say you got 35% in the last 4 years?
Probably 6, 7.
That's unbelievable, the money that we gave. And Norma, correct me, because I'm just giving a lot of stats on my head, but we're supposed to be at 50,000 in 2027, is that correct?
Yes, 26, 27.
And we're already, we're basically there this year at 23, plus you're getting an $11,000 perk that don't show. You know, you're always, we've got approximately, I think 60, 80 teachers drive in, not counting bus drivers, not counting cooks, because our pay scale, I'm close friends with the director of schools at Wilson County. Our pay scale, I think, is better. I know teachers is. I think Dr. Ben and some of you others done a study. I didn't do it where it couldn't be said that I skewed it, but we were 4th in the state last year, starting the year, teacher pay, and that's not counting if you're gracious enough to give another 10% raise this year. You know, I hear about disgruntled employees. because you guys have been around me, know I'm a numbers guy. So I laid in bed and I thought if we had a 6% disgruntlement, which would be pretty low for you guys in business, that's 30-something employees a year. I told you the numbers driving in, so it's ridiculous to think, yeah, you're always gonna have somebody disgruntled. You're probably not doing a good job management if you're not, because, you know, you don't want anybody unhappy, but I expect them to do their job. And I think their supervisors and the people on the board expect them to do their job. Everybody can't coach the same sport, everybody can't have a supervisor's role, and everybody's not gonna get to be in the classroom they want to. Somebody's not always gonna be happy out of over 500 employees. We have, and I would never talk about another city, but there's one border county that borders us. They had a 48% turnaround the year before last in teachers alone, just teachers. You know, when we started this, we talked about test scores. And I said, if we could create an environment that they feel loved, your test scores will take care of itself. Well, you got a publication right there that's got us ranked, I think 9th out of 95 counties is what the state come back with. You know, you get all this false propaganda and people are negative out there. We need to start saying the good things. We're 9th in the state, right there's from the State Department of Education, not from me, not from somebody made up. Yeah, we need to get 8, we need to get 8 slots higher. We need to be number 1. I'm not happy with 9, but I tell you, there's about 87 counties who'd like to trade places with us. So we're doing, you guys have allowed these people to do it right, you know. Yes, there's way too much hate and lies, and people should be accountable for those, you know. It's a shame that, you know, we don't live in if people can just make up and say anything they want to, and there's no repercussions for it, but you know, I've decided, you know, a long time ago, people lie or tell stuff not true for basically 2 reasons. One, to be vindictive and mean and hurt somebody, or they're just not smart enough or understand somebody's giving them false information. A lot of times I think people carry false information. My dad taught me a lot, and I am because of my dad, and I have a lot of principles because of my dad, whether people like them or not. But he taught me one thing: you got something to say to somebody, you go to them and say it. Don't hide behind a computer screen. Don't put an article in the paper. You got something to say, you know, come say it. Don't go to the breakfast table when you're not there to defend yourself. I mean, you got something to say, come say it. Or, you know, that's what the board's for. I'm not going to elaborate a lot farther than that because there's probably some legal action on some liability issues that attorneys advise me not to go much deeper than that. But we need to work together for the county for the best, and that's why I made my decision on that, because it's going to be hard enough. We're going to have several million-dollar school systems going to have to be coming to schools. You've got this new TISA formula. It's going to change some of the funding for the county. People need to work together, and you know, I love this county. I live in it. My kids go to school here. I'm God blessed. I'm the luckiest person in the world. I told somebody several years ago I'm untouchable, and it made them mad. They said, nobody's untouchable. I said, I am, because if you walk in here right now and tell me you want me to go home 8 to 8, I won't be mad at you. I'll go home and start doing something else. That makes me untouchable. You know, I answer right up here and to you guys in the work part. And but I just can't tell you over the friendships and the love I have for y'all. I know there's not a one of you that don't do the right thing on this board for children. And I appreciate, nobody don't tell you guys that, but I love you and I appreciate you for that. And I want to say thanks for all you've done for me and my family and all you've done for the county. You don't get told enough. So thank you. But I want you to know my reasoning behind it, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, let's go on to consent items. Board minutes, Warrensville High School had some requests, Smith County High School, summer school guidelines for 9 through 12 and non-tenured teacher letters. And you had, Ms. Tracy added, did you add one to the consent items? Or, I told Smith County High School had a request. Hope you've all got one that was for the.
And let me, Mr. He
Yes.
was a new teacher, and he's, think, panicking, but he did it the right way. He was just like getting it in.
Right. And y'all all had a chance to look at the added consent item. Do I have a motion to approve those? Second. Any discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay. Next item, it was superintendent's actions. Any of those you need to pull or want to pull? Don't need a motion on it, so we'll go to new business. Bid approvals for diesel. And I know you've all had a chance to look at it, but y'all, do I have a motion on them?
Motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion on them? No? Other than the, it was bid out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different companies bid out. And Miss Rita Apple at Mixonaller got the low bid on diesel. So if no discussion, roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Next thing is TSBA membership dues for this next upcoming year. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Second. Any discussions? All in favor? Well, no, excuse me, let me back up here. That's money we're spending. So, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Next thing on the agenda is a approval for a 10% raise for all employees, which means that if we decide tonight to give this raise, we will put this into our budget to be presented to the county commission. It's not law yet. It's just, we're passing it on saying that we want to give the employees a 10% raise, and it will be up to the county commission to pass or not pass our, budget. So, do I have a motion on it?
Yes, sir.
Second.
Second. To have a discussion. Anybody like to discuss that one?
Can I
If
say
you would,
something?
yeah, go ahead, Mr. Glover.
You know, this doesn't necessarily go with this. I brought this up last month, the raises, because our teachers deserve it. They work hard. But I want to go back and talk about a couple things that we were talking about earlier, since I've got the floor.
Yes, sir, you got the floor.
I wanted to reply to some of that stuff that we've talked about earlier, and I wrote something up. So if y'all give me some time, I want to read something to you that I've wrote up. First, I'd like to say that these are the words, they're my words, not the words of anybody else on this board. They're only my words. I'd like to address some of the false rumors, some of the statements that's been circulating on social media, and even placed in ads in the paper. I'd like to go in order of how they were placed in the paper, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
First, I'd like to address the accusations and the reasons for the lawsuit. And this is my words, nobody else up here. In the ad in the paper, it says the school board was trying to be non-transparent and try to prevent accountability. I'm going to tell you why I voted in favor of the lawsuit. If anything, the school board was more transparent under the 57 Act. School system deals with nearly $50 million annually, which includes state and federal funds. something that the county don't deal with. They don't deal with federal funds. They don't apply for any. Therefore, since we deal with the state and federal funds, the school system is audited more frequently than what the county is, and more strenuously than the county is. The budget not only went through the school system's eyes, through Ms. Norma's eyes, through Mr. Berry's eyes, they went through the commission's eyes also. They went through the Budget and Finance Committee's eyes also. So more than one, not just one entity was looking at this budget, all of us was looking at this budget. So how is that less transparent? We keep talking about this transparent word too. And I'll say it a lot more times in this. School systems work very hard to build our fund balance. I'm proud of that. I wanted to help protect what we have built. And you'll see why as I continue to read. The school system has given raises. We've created jobs. We've purchased property, all while not asking for 1 penny tax raise from the county in over 16 years. Not 1 penny. We've created all this stuff, not asking for 1 penny. The county has raised our taxes several times during that time. They can't say that. So tell me something. Who do you want to run your money? Why would we want them to run our money? I voted for that lawsuit because I was tired of the backdoor politics, the secret phone calls, the messages, trying to get that act passed through. So I ask again, who's being more transparent? B, they want to claim the lawsuit was a waste of money, and it cost the taxpayers an estimated $75,000. First off, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars, which was laughable. School system pays a fee to our lawyer monthly. What the school system was out was minimal compared to what the county paid. The county set aside $40,000 to pay their attorney that they had to hire separately from their county attorney. During the county commission meeting of January 23rd, 2024, they voted to pay their private attorney. I believe it's somewhere around $36,000. During that same meeting, the county commission voted to raise $40,000 to $50,000 to pay their already retained lawyer the remainder out of the goodness of their heart. So if my calculations are correct, they paid roughly $14,000 of your tax money, extra money that they didn't have to pay, to their attorney that they already had retained on, just out of the goodness of their heart. It's online. You can watch it. I have a copy of it if you need it. Again, what governmental entity is being responsible with our money? Who's being transparent? Who is not? Item C. Let's talk about the deficiency in the audit. There's 95 counties in the state of Tennessee. I guarantee you there's 90 to 95% of those counties that had deficiencies and findings. Not just Smith County. Not just the school board. Almost every county in the state of Tennessee had findings. That doesn't mean that someone did something wrong or misleading. If someone does something wrong or illegal, that'd be a criminal offense. I feel like that is what certain public officials are trying to apply. The school system and the director has done nothing wrong, nothing that we haven't done for the last 7 years. It's been okay for the last 7 years. Why now? I got my theories, but we'll talk about that later. But since we want to talk about deficiencies, let's make them a big priority. You know, in the 2022 audit, Smith County Commission was written up for giving themselves bonuses, totaling $60,000 of bonuses. We didn't get no bonus. We didn't vote for no bonus. Why does the county commission get bonus? But they were written up in their audit for that. Again, who's been responsible with their money? Who's been transparent? Who do you want controlling your money? Item D. Let's talk about the good teachers leaving for better paid jobs in other counties or the disgruntled former employees. Barry, you talked about that a while ago. Let's talk about that. Not sure if you've been to Putnam County, Wilson County, Sumner County lately. they have a pretty large tax revenue. A lot of money coming in there. Smith County don't have that. I believe we could, but due to lack of leadership, we don't have the money coming in. School system has been smart with our money. We've built what we have, not raised taxes one time in 16 years. I'm going to keep saying it. Not one time have we asked for a penny from the county in 16 years. If you've ever ran a business or been in leadership, you're going to have disgruntled employees. You're not going to make everybody happy. It's just not going to happen, no matter who's in charge. Some of those disgruntled employees even burnt bridges over and over, yet they're always looking for the greener grass on the other side. They're always the first one to complain when we don't hire them back. What about these great teachers that we brought into our community? I believe we have around 62 certified teachers that travel into our county from other counties, including Wilson, Sumner, Putnam, all those counties that has more tax revenue coming in. We're bringing them here because they're better off here. They make better money here because we supply insurance. They don't. I ain't gonna say they don't. Some of them don't. I'm proud of the teachers and employees that we have in our system. And just a FYI, school board neither hires nor fires employees. We ain't got nothing to do with it. That's done by the director and the principals of the schools. Item E, there's accusations that we give raises, that we are giving raises because the state's requiring us to give raises. Absolutely false. This is something that the director's been working on for several years. This isn't something that can be done overnight unless you ask for a tax increase from the county. Again, we hadn't asked for any tax increase in 16 years. How come we keep giving raises? Because we're smart with our money. We've applied for many federal and state grants, started new programs that not only benefit the children of this county, but simultaneously bring in more money for these raises that we're being given. Also bringing in money to help pay for the non-certified employees' insurance that we're going to be voting on. I've told y'all last month that I wanted to try to find that before I'm off this board. And I'm telling you right now that I'm going to vote for it. With the raise we proposed this year, our certified teachers' pay has been raised 33% in the last 4 years since I've been on the board. 33% in 4 years. Because of the hard work that we've done and the director's done to build this fund balance to where we're able to do that. A big difference than the mandatory raise that the state has by 2027 as we are being accused. Again, what governmental entity is being responsible with their finances? Who's being more transparent? Who do you want controlling your money? F, I had one individual call me this in person, or talk to me in person, could not give me a good reason why we shouldn't extend Mr. Smith's contract other than we just need to change. Just things need to change. I had one text me that we shouldn't because it's just too early. And I explained to him, this is something we do every 2 years. It's not nothing we're hiding. We're not trying to slide in. It's something that it was normal protocol that we do every 2 years. I've had several messages, talks, and calls in favor of you being renewed. Matter of fact, I've had more in favor than more against. And that's the honest truth. And FYI, this is something done every 2 years. It is not out of the ordinary. We're not trying to slide something in like all the conspiracy theorists think. It's our normal practice. Look back at our past agendas. I know you asked for us to not vote this time around because it was too big of a distraction, Barry. I understand that. Me and you don't always see eye to eye on everything. I don't. Me and him, we've argued over some things several times. Nobody knows the sacrifices that you've made in your personal life to do what's right for the children and employees of this county. But overall, we're lucky to have you as the director of our schools.
It's easy for someone to sit on the outside, make accusations about your job, but it's hard to step up and find out. Hence, they're not here. Nobody's sitting here watching it. They're not going to show up. I felt a lot of those accusations have been directed at me and the job I have done on this school board. So I felt the need to address them and in person. My phone number is public. My email is public. My social media is public. I'm not hard to find. And if any of you have concerns about what I've stated, call me, message me, text me, email me. But please have your facts straight. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Glover.
Beside that, on discussion on what we're talking about, I think, you know, like you said on the 10% raise, it's long overdue, and I'm glad that the past few years, you know, we had planned on doing this and able to give them a 10% raise. And I want to thank all the employees, the teachers, staff, faculty, everybody, all the way through. Thank you for sticking with us and us allowing maybe now to try to get your pay bumped up there. What, you know, we want to make this the #1 attraction place to come to work. Really, we do. And it's just like you said, you got disgruntled employees too. I mean, you have them. I'm in supervision where I'm at, and sometimes I get a kick when I get called to the HR office because one of my employees, I might have said something to them and they filed a complaint on me. And then my boss and the plant manager said, you're not doing your job if you don't have somebody file a complaint on you. Because you have the few, you know, I mean, you have the few. But I want to thank the board for getting this put in the budget. And a lot of people don't understand. You've hit it on the head. Of course, I've sat here a long time, guys. I've been on this board a long time. I went to ask for money with Mr. Lewis one time since I've sat on this board. But for about 16 years, we have not asked for a single penny from this county to fund this school system. And I don't know what it is about the public out there and your opinion about this. I mean, we do a pretty good job managing our money, guys. If not, we'd be there every daggum year asking for more money. So, I mean, you got to give this board and you got to give Mr. Smith some credit for what we've accomplished. And I'm proud of what we've got. I've sat on the board where we needed money. I've sat there. Like I said, I went to county commission with Mr. Lewis one time and begged for some money, and we got some money. One time. And I've been sitting here for a little over 20 years now. So it's not fun going. So I'm going to say that it's well deserved at 10%. I wish maybe we could give them 20%, but we'll go with 10% right now. And thank you, board members, for what you've done and the sacrifices y'all put into. And thank all our employees also.
Well, if you remember this, the process, we had to, for bus drivers, we had to get them baselines because took a while to get there before we need to get. We had to get a re-ace where they need to get. And then now that, you know, once you start getting, hopefully you get baseline where these people are getting paid where they should over time. Then when you give a raise, you can get across the board like you're graciously doing, and then it's equal for everybody.
I'm going to say one more thing.
Yes, sir.
I sat on this board for many years, and it was brought up when Mr. Smith got here. School board members have to go to classes. We're mandatory by state. Once a year, we've got to do an 8-hour training class. And we used to go individually or groups to do it. When Mr. Smith got on the board, he's like, we need to have our meetings together and we call it a retreat, but it's not a retreat. We have it here. We didn't have visions. And Mr. Smith, when he took the job, he said, we got to have goals, visions. The state come in and say, hey, y'all got to have a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. We got to update it. And I think our first one was in 2017, I believe, the year after you done it. And listen, I was dead set against this. I mean, I think I told y'all. I know I did. I told Robin Moore that. I was dead set against. But after we got started on this, it's one of the best things I think this board does once a year. Sit down, TWSAA sends a representative down here to make sure we stay on their agendas and check our progress. But all this stuff you're seeing now, guys, it was put in years ago, and it's in our 5-year plan as we're coming down. So, you know, it's there. And listen, it's one of the best things for the board to do is keep on doing their yearly meet and retreat together and doing their planning. So it's really been
Can I add something to that?
Yes, sir.
What people don't understand is we could have got here a whole lot sooner. We could have got to this point a whole lot sooner. We would have had to go and ask the county for tax increase. and we could have paid everybody a whole lot sooner, but everybody's taxes would have had to go up. Nobody wants their taxes to go up. So we've worked really hard for the last several years, even before I was on the board, and we built this without raising taxes, and that's what we're proud of. It's not costing the county taxpayers a penny to get these raises to these teachers. And I don't see what the big fuss is.
Any more discussion?
Can
If
I
not-
ask a question?
Yes, sir, go right ahead, sir.
I've lost track of what we are actually discussing.
We are, on
That's my fault,
the,
I'm sorry.
10% raise for employees. We've had, motion and second, and we're in discussion. Would you like to add anything to it?
I mean, I think I made the motion, didn't
Yeah,
I? I mean, I agree with everything that's been said, but I feel compelled because we're on 10% raise for employees. And unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of discussion about your rejecting, the extension, which is not early. I mean, Mr. Attorney, you correct me if I'm wrong. It's not an early, it wasn't on the agenda early. It's when we always do it. And then we got somehow around to these other things. So I made the motion on this, but I do want to say something on this other stuff. And I'm going to say this because I feel compelled to, and because my heart is burdened by it. And we've touched on some of it here, so I'm going to say it. And then you can turn my microphone off, tell me to hush when you get ready. Gentlemen, we've sat on this board together. I've been here 6 years, I guess, something like that. Sometimes seems like 6 days, sometimes seems like 600 years. Recently, it's been 600 years. There has been a lot of stuff out there in the media, and it's hurt us all, and it's hurt Mr. Smith. I think that we have all, and when I say we, I'm saying us and the county commission, have been victimized in a manner of people whispering things in our ear that so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that, and we've been pitted against each other in some ways. So I'm just telling y'all, I'm not disagreeing with anything that's been said. This ad in the paper is pretty accurate. But for me, I just simply don't care anymore. I'm not going to argue about it anymore. We had some adversity some months ago. I don't know how long ago, Mr. Winkler, when all this first flared up. I don't know. There was a lot of adversity and a lot of back and forth and all that stuff. But I guess where I'm headed with this is kind of like two basketball games. You know, two out there playing ball. We had our position, felt like we was right and all that stuff, and they had theirs, felt like they was right, and we played ball, and everybody knows where it landed. And that's it. I'm not going to entertain, me personally, any more propaganda and all that stuff. If a board member says something to me directly, that's good, and I'll take that. If a county commissioner says something to me directly, that's fine, and I will take that. However, I think that a lot of social media and all that stuff, and just because it's on Facebook doesn't mean it's true. I mean, I put a Bible verse on there every day. I think in my heart I believe that's true because it comes out of the Bible. But everything on Facebook is not true. So here's kind of where I am. And I got the same text message y'all did. Don't rip on him and all that stuff and his former employee and all that. And I just don't care. Where I am is both sides, I think, probably feel a little bit scuffed. Do we think we were right? Obviously so. Do they think they were right? Obviously so. But now I'm working with them on this committee that y'all put me on. I'm going to stick my hand across the table and try my best to have a relationship with all of them best I can. We have to take our budget from them, even though we've managed the money and we've obviously created these things, just like Mr. Glover pointed out, through exceptional management on Mr. Smith's part. But somewhere through all of this, gentlemen, there's like, I don't think I've ever seen this. I'll be 63 years old next month, but there's a tear in the fabric of our community. I'm not going to be part of it anymore. I'm going to come in here and tell the truth, vote for what I think is right. I'm going to go to the committee that y'all sit on. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to vote for what I think is right. I'm going to extend my hand to either side and do the Christian thing or what I think the Christian thing is, because our children are watching us. We're working for our children. The public's watching us, which is fine. I don't care if I even run again. If they want to elect me, they can, or I may not run. But I'm having no more arguments. No more. It's not the Christian attitude to take. And I'm not saying I'm a big Christian man and all that stuff, because all y'all know I'll tell you in a heartbeat I'm not a good man. But somewhere, and I don't like when I see some of these ads that's put in there, when I know in my heart what has been said and done. Mr. Glover documented it quite well. I'm just not going to argue about it anymore. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to try to be a Christian about it. I will tell y'all right now, I invited county commissioners to come tonight. Been glad if this room had been full, but been fine with me. But somewhere, just like you pointed out, we've got to take this budget to them. They have to pass it or not pass it. And somewhere, fellas, Joe, me and you may argue about something all day long, and in the end, it may be that both of us is wrong. But somewhere, there's got to be a little healing. And I'm not going to, I agree, I'm not knocking anything that Mr. Glover said. He's very passionate about what he does. I appreciate that. The school system needs that. Our children and our employees need that. I admire you for that. All the time that Tommy has been on here, I admire that. And all the rest of y'all know that I love you and what you represent. But I'm just saying, somewhere through all of this, just my opinion, and I've studied about this a lot this week, and I've probably slept total about 10 hours since Saturday, because it's been on my heart. Somewhere through all of this, it has turned into like an argument or something constantly, and it just doesn't have to be that way. And I'm not going to be that way. I'm going to try my best to work equally with both sides. I love all y'all, and we may agree or may not agree sometimes. I don't know. I don't really remember when I've had disagreement with anybody in here. But I feel as though, and hey, fellas, I mean, y'all know, I was the one who made the motion, filed a lawsuit. Made the motion. I'm the man that made it. But I just want our county to move forward, and I want us to try to ignore some things that are incorrect if they won't allow us, or whomever will not allow us to explain it. And then realize that we all are fallible. I make some tremendous mistakes every day, but I want to be a good Christian man, and I think every person on this board is probably a better Christian man than I am. But I'm just not going to be drugged down in this anymore. I'm not going to argue with people. They have a right to their opinion, but I'm just going to try my best to represent the board in a proper way. I'm going to try to be honest. I'm going to try to not allow outside things, because I really truly believe that both sides have had a lot of stuff crammed in their ear, that somebody's cousin's mama's sister said so-and-so about you, and I'm going to let all that go, guys. I want to try best, if we can, for all of us to work together. And when I say all of us, I'm talking about both sides of the fence. And hopefully we can. And hopefully, our children will learn something from that also. We have had a hard argument going on for a while, and both sides believe they're right, and that's okay. I don't have any animosity towards anyone. I don't have any ill will, and that's just where I'm at. And I appreciate you letting me say that.
Yes, sir.
But I appreciate all of y'all's opinions. You don't have to agree with mine. But the argument with Scotty stops. It stopped 2 or 3 days ago when the burden got put on my heart. And I'm gonna act like a Christian, man. I'm not arguing anymore. So that's how I feel. Love all of you.
Any more comments? If not, we're gonna vote on this. Let's do a roll call, because this will be money spent. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCaleb?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Himself, yes. And y'all forgive me here, I did run on new business, I skipped item C, which was policy 4.605 graduation requirements. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yes, sir.
Discussions? All in favor? Opposed? Now, the next thing on the agenda is approval to provide health insurance for our non-certified full-time employees, correct?
I think Mr. Glover would like to make that motion.
Okay, you want to make that motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Jones, second. Any discussions?
Yes, sir. Just a short comment.
Yes, sir.
Look, this is I mean, we've had a strategic plan for how many years, Director Smith?
Well, we've been talking about this for
5, I know.
17, yeah, 5 or
I
more.
mean, ever since I've been on here.
One reason we didn't, I think sometimes people say, well, we should, but you can't put that out there and take it away, so.
No.
We were working on it, we felt like with our investments, Norma and I and Ben and Dr. Mr. Towns, the supervisors, we felt like and especially once the godsend was the new TISA formula. Once we figured and got the hands on that, we felt like that point we could sustain, that's what
That's the
gets.
point I'm coming to.
Yeah.
It's not that, and I want everybody that's listening to this or cares or whatever, and everybody on this board knows that this is the truth. It's not that we have not wanted to. We have taken the fine for it every year because we couldn't afford to. We couldn't afford to, and maybe we had a year somewhere that we could have done it, but then the next year we'd have to take it away because we couldn't sustain it. But with the TISA formula and the grants and everything that everybody's worked so hard on, suddenly, and thank God Almighty that we're in a position that not only can we do it, we can sustain it without it costing the taxpayers anything, not asking for any money. So I just simply, they deserve it. They work hard every day, and they've got families. And I'm going to pick on our attorney a minute. He won't mind too much. But I made this speech when I first came on this board, and we gave a 3% raise and then $2 extra to the non-certified, as you recall. So I'm going to pick on you again. Or I may have picked on Mr. Beller then, but you're here now, so I'm going to pick on you. Our non-certified employees, when they go to the grocery store and buy a loaf of bread, it costs them the same money as it costs our attorney. And by far, we know that an attorney is going to make more money than a non-certified employee. But they don't get a discount because they're non-certified employees. They don't get a discount because they work in the school system without insurance. They have to pay the same price. So here we are, finally, after years of not being able to, or not being able to sustain it, give it to them and then have to take it away or go ask the county to raise taxes, which ain't right. Here we are. And it is simply, it's without question, it is the exact right thing to do. And I think every member on this board, their heart just runs 100 miles an hour just like mine, because finally, after all the hours and all the work and the guidance and the leadership and things that we've had, finally, these people that deserve us so badly, we're able to put that in our budget. So thank all of you all for that.
Any more discussion?
I'd just like to say something real quick.
Yes, sir.
This is something that's needed to happen for a long time. We can't keep employees. These people run our school systems, because without them, we wouldn't be able to have school. We can't. They cook the kids' foods. They come in whenever they don't have to. They work hard. They clean up vomit and bathrooms. They do a lot that a lot of people don't know they do. They deserve it. That's all I gotta say.
Anything else from anybody?
Chairman, just to be
Yes.
clear, for non-certified, all you're voting to do is put it in a proposed budget.
Yeah, that's what I was fixing to say that. We're putting it in the budget for this next fiscal year. Now, that goes before the county commission, and they may not pass it. But we're asking to do this, but it is, that's the only way it won't be passed.
I got one more thing.
And this board has to pass it
Yeah,
too, one more time.
one more time, yes.
I got one more thing on that. County wants to talk about deficiencies. That was one of our deficiencies. So if they want to get rid of our deficiencies, and even in their interviews with the CFO, they asked them, are you going to get rid of all your deficiencies? And the one they hired said yes. So this will get rid of one of those deficiencies.
Okay.
One more discussion, and another thing I think we brought out in our work session that we had back a couple months ago, that if this does get approved by the board and does get approved by the county commissioners, for the non-certified people, the insurance actually technically will not start until January. Is that correct? It don't start at the beginning of the school year. It'll have to be January.
Yeah, after that, it would be retroactive. It'd take about then to kick it in, yeah.
Yeah,
I want to make sure I make that point.
right.
But there's nothing we can do to change that.
No,
That needs to be,
that's
That's the insurance company.
That's just the way it's set up to be done, so.
I mean, we wish it could be
Yeah.
like now.
Hey, I wanted to make sure that was out there, just in
Right,
case
right.
some of our non-certifieds might have been listening, and they like, oh, shoot, August, I got insurance. But
Yeah.
no, not that quick.
Any more discussion then? If not, let's have a roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCaleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay. Got that. Approval of Board of Education to pay our board member appointed to the County Finance Committee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Okay. Discussion?
Did we discuss amount for that?
Yes, yeah.
How much was it?
Just like he gets normal, just like he's coming to a school board meeting, is what he gets paid by us, not anybody else.
I believe we've been probably directed, maybe by the attorney, we might ought to pay what the commissioners are getting paid.
Serving on that committee, he probably needs
But nobody will tell us what the commissioners, we've asked. Nobody will tell us.
So,
I
Instead of-
asked last month and was told that they'd get back with me.
So they get paid
so,
when they're there.
Yeah, but I don't know what.
Mr. Winkler, you're saying that we don't pay him what we make for a school board meeting, we would have to pay him what the county commission pays their commissioners.
I would think that would be the cleaner way. However, you have appointed him for the board to do that.
Well, that was what I was gonna ask, if he,
Per se, yeah.
why is it fair of him not to?
I think we pay them whatever the board wants to pay.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm just-
You have appointed him, you have elected him to serve on that committee, so I don't think there's anything quote unquote illegal about it.
Can I?
I think it's probably more consistent to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now, let's say, the county commission will not pay for our, person being on that committee. They will not pay.
That's my understanding.
Right, we have to pay that person, and they should be paid. Now, Mr. Smith won't get anything because he is an employee, and that's just,
Statute requires his service.
right, requires his services. So we are, going to pay our appointed official.
You elect that position, not that committee, not the county commission, so yes, technically you can.
Okay,
Chairman, can I make a motion?
we didn't got a motion in a sec, we just still, haven't got a.
Yeah.
We don't have an amount.
Amount, okay,
Can I just, before he makes a motion or something, can I just say one thing?
yes,
I've said this 2 or 3 times. I don't have any idea why the county commission pulled me on that. I didn't ask for it. I don't know why you fellas did. I didn't ask for it. I've been going. I'm doing best I can. And I'm gonna be frank with you. you know, we've formed a couple good relationships right there, working together and working on some problems together, you know, all honesty. I think that the committee has moved very well thus far. But, you know, I don't care. I mean, y'all appoint me on here. I mean, somebody else is gonna come in behind me. I'm obviously not gonna be on there. You know, I mean, I think it's once a year, Mr. Winkler or something other like that. So, I mean, it's not gonna be me sitting here. But what I'm getting at is, fellas, you know, I'm here serving the 8th district. That's what put me in this chair. And y'all and the county commission put me on this. That's an extension of me serving the 8th district. So I don't care if y'all pay me $1 or 50 cents. It doesn't make any difference to me. I was elected to serve. Y'all had enough confidence to put me on there. County commission had enough confidence to put me on there. I don't care. So you do what you think is right. I'm going to abstain from anything, obviously. But y'all had the confidence for some reason. I don't know why. I think you're greatly misguided. But, you know, I'm going to serve the year or the 6 months until there's a new board or whatever it changes, Mr. Winkler, I don't know. But in the meantime, I'll be there doing the best I can. And then y'all do what y'all think you want to do, and I don't care.
Mr. Glover?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the appointed person from our board on the county financial committee, whatever the amount is that the county pays their individuals that's on the same board, and compel the county to let us know what that is.
It'll be an amendment made by the person that made the original motion.
You got a motion on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Now, who made the motion? Start with Tracy.
Mr. Patel? Was it Marty?
Who made that motion?
Marty made it.
Did you make it, Marty? Okay, now, do you want to amend your motion to what Mr. Glover said?
So if I wanted to, what would we do?
Okay, what we're amending is to pay him the same thing that the county commissioners pay their people that sits on the board, which would be, well, I guess we'll need to look to Mr. Winkler to get us an answer.
Somebody will need to, yes, sir, I'll be happy to try.
So what's the general feeling of the board here? And
I want to know what the pay is. What if it's $25 a meeting?
that's not enough.
See, I don't know. That's what I'm asking Mr. Winkler. I mean, we need to know.
Aren't they transparent?
I'm not touching that.
We've asked 3 months.
I tell you why I want
3 months
this.
we've asked.
I don't know what they make. I don't want, there's 4 or 5 of y'all on there, 5 of you on the board, four.
No,
Counting.
7.
Seven total.
The road commissioner, the county mayor, and the
Director.
director. So I was trying to just keep it an even playing field. Whatever they made, you made. And that's where I went with this. When, you know, everybody makes the same, where it's $500 a meeting or $10 a meeting. It's the same playing field. Well, you know, you don't get the
I don't
school board
care.
pay, or, you know, or anything like
Will you,
that. I don't know.
will you amend that, Marty, your motion?
I think we need to pay what we would decide we want to pay.
Okay.
If we've been trying to get that figure and there's not transparency, let's just do what we want to do because it's our board member and he's sacrificing his time.
So, that's,
I'll leave it like this.
so you're gonna leave your motion just like you put it? Okay, I'm gonna have a roll call on it.
What is the motion?
The motion is to pay him the same amount that he makes when he comes to a school board meeting.
Let's don't be transparent about this. What does he make a meeting?
It's $200,
Make
correct?
$200 a meeting.
Each board member makes $200 a meeting. I make an extra $50 because I'm the chairman.
Are we gonna pay him the back pay too on the meetings he's already been to?
I think he
Wow.
probably took care of them, wouldn't he?
We starting today.
It's up to y'all.
Today starts as,
How many meetings you already been to, Scott?
4. Coming up on 5.
You might have to make another motion for that.
yeah, we will. Okay, we got a roll call. Everybody understand what the motion is? We're gonna pay him what he makes at a school board meeting. Okay. Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Apple,
Yeah.
Mr. McCaleb,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Manning.
I'm gonna abstain on this one.
Okay. Mr. Glover,
No.
Mr. Lewis, you're gonna abstain.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna do a no because for the reason, we need a little more clarity on this before, we can still go back and vote this again, right? Yeah. So,
No,
it's,
it takes 5 votes to approve it.
so it's 1, 2, 3. You got 4 yeses and, 2 abstain and 2 no. So, motion fails. Now, let's get some, before we do that, let's get some exact figures. I'm all in for doing, I thought that's what we were gonna do to start with, was what we paid for a school board meeting. But some of you don't think, you know, we need to get some clarity on this, and you can have that by the next board meeting, correct? You can get us exact dollars by next board meeting, what they're paying there. You're not gonna guarantee it, correct?
But I'd like to make a point. How many of them are sitting on that board from their position? 4?
Yes.
3.
Three. Three, yeah, 3.
So the point is, they're paying way more than we'll be paying Mr. Lewis for his time. If you take their 3, if they're making
I don't know what,
$75, $100.
I would imagine service on a committee, attendance at a county commission meeting, or any committee has a standard rate. Shouldn't be any different from the financial management committee than it does.
would this be agreeable with the board that, let's put this back on the agenda again next month? After we get some clarity on what the payment is, then, Mr. Taylor, if you want to make this retroactive from the time he's set on his first meeting,
I'm not sure we can get and find out. We've asked for the last 3 months, I know, because I have. Sitting
well,
right here.
Mr. Winkler pretty well guaranteeing me he's gonna find out.
And he's guaranteeing he's gonna have.
He's gonna have,
Would the mayor have to answer that question?
That's it. He'll handle it.
he'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay, motion failed.
Transparent on TV.
Right. Let's go on to our next item. But, Tracy, I do want this back on the agenda next month for more discussion. Okay, bid approval for painting. Now, this is, Mr. Smith, is for the, buildings we're building. Okay. Do I have a motion on this?
Motion. Second.
Second. Do I have any discussion about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It looks nice, and you've done a good job on it. The buildings over at Gornsville looks nice. You've done a good job on that. I'm gonna ask, Mr. Manning a question. I mean, I drive through there every morning, and it's kind of trivial. I mean, I hate to even say it, but, you know, with the public over there and the school children over there, like I said, big old blue G on that white side of that building, it looks like a side of a barn there to me. Would they like to see that, you think, or
I don't know, let's get it bricked and see what it looks like.
gonna brick it on up all the
It
way?
goes up to it's bricked up to the eaves. I've had more complaints about. why
All
you
right,
make
well,
it
then
better.
don't,
It's
then,
not better.
never mind, I misunderstood, because you're just gonna cover up a big old blue G, so I just.
It's not gonna be a
ask
big,
questions.
ugly metal building.
No, it's
so.
not a metal building. There is brick coming.
Thank you for the clarification.
And I was up there the other day. I actually stopped by there Sunday and kind of looked around. Y'all, it's nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna encourage you guys, it gets you excited to go. It's big, but when you see a truck sitting in it, it looks like a
Yeah, step inside
matchbox.
of it.
This one's 3,000 square foot bigger than it, just with the design, it's pretty awesome.
Well, you understand what I was saying, though, right?
But let's get her built. Let's see what it looks like. Let's get it
Yeah.
bricked. Let's see what
Yeah.
it looks like.
I think
Thanks, sir.
everybody's gonna be very proud.
Any more discussion? We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Now, I will say we just had one bid on this. It was 5A Painting. And they do have all insurances and liabilities that they need for this job, so. Again, we're spending money Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCaleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Now, next item is the bid approval for the masonry materials. Do I have a motion on them?
Yes, sir.
Second. Any discussion? Again, I see only one bid on that. And again, this is all roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yeah.
Mr. McCaleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Bid approval for masonry labor. And you had, I believe you just had one bid on that, didn't you? Is that correct?
Yeah, we didn't have that.
I didn't think you had anybody wanting to bid on any of it. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Second discussion? All in okay, excuse me, got another roll call here, because we're spending money. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCaleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. And these materials that we are having done are bought locally. And we did not go out any, well, didn't have anybody to bid, so all it was local money. Let's see here now. The bid approval for the HVAC. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Second discussion? Again, we got money involved. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCaleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Bid approval for the electrical. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussions? If not, roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCaleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. And again, when we're making all of these bids here we're doing are on these buildings. I want to clarify that again. Bid approval for doors. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Discussion. This again is money spent. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCaleb?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay, the last one here is a request to advertise for architectural services on this, let me get to my notes there on that one. Yeah, for the Megatronics building. So do I have a motion on that?
Yes, sir.
Second.
Second, discussion?
Can I say one thing?
Yes, sir.
We have saved, Mr. Dudley's done it absolutely. He needs to be commended. He's called in every favor, I had one contractor tell me that one of those buildings we wouldn't be able to get built now between 8 and 10 million. One, we're gonna have both of them built somewhere around 4.5, 5 million time we put the, it is, I mean, he has done, he needs to be commended. That was a great move hiring him to do this. He's took it as a personal project, and he's done a fantastic job getting out and getting people, didn't want you to see there were any people that bid, and he's got out and got people, not only got them, but he's got them, stayed on them. You know, Travis, I'd do it just to get him to leave me alone sometimes, but he does a good job, really good job.
Any more discussion?
I'd just like to make a point real quick. This building, Megatronics building, that we're gonna bring in all these kids and teach them how to do all these new things and skills. And these two gyms that we're building, I'd like to say it one more time. This is all done without raising taxes, one penny.
And it all ties together, just like the 28 credits you guys voted on a while ago. We hope those, you know, you're gonna take fun stuff, neat stuff you can get certified. And used to, you had to pretty much take a track. By increasing those credits, hopefully those young men and women will want to go take some of these skill sets. And that's where your TESOL form is gonna increase drastically because they're gonna be CTE students. And hopefully we can get these young people back in this community.
Any more discussion? Let's do a roll call on this. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Any more discussion for tonight? I think we pretty well discussed everything. Hope you've all had a chance to do your policy reviews for April. Mr. Winkler, do you need executive session? I do not. Okay. Also, before we adjourn, our May board meeting is still on a Tuesday, May the 21st, and our June will be on a Tuesday, June the 18th. If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Opposed?
Me.
You don't count. And I thank all y'all for being here tonight.